Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Slovenia once again. We're going to go back to Nova Gorica, which is of course home to Pivovarna Reservoir dogs, and we've got a beer that I think will be pretty damn good for this one. I mean, all of their beers are good, but from what I understand this one is one that is a little bit of a standout, so very excited to try this one today. So for this beer we are going to have a taste of their Starvation, and this one is the Black IPA. Comes in at 8% ABV. This one's rated 99 overall and within the style on Rate Beer, and it was rated well into the 4 stars on Untappd when I had a little quick look as well. Another beer that is part of their Apocalypse series, and I think this is actually their most highly rated beer. According to Rate Beer, this is one of the top 50 black IPAs in the world, so very curious to see what this one has in store. I've always enjoyed the IPAs from these guys. You know, the Grim Reaper was lovely, as I've told you before. The Lone Wolf, the one that uses the Slovenian Styrian Wolf hop, I think is probably the best beer that I've had from them, my favourite, although the Batch 50 Imperial Stout is a pretty damn good beer as well. But this one is the one that seems to be rated most highly on the kind of peer websites and stuff, so I think this will be a particularly interesting review. This is a style you don't see too much of anymore actually, and it's one that I've always felt is a little bit better when it's an Imperial Black IPA. This one is getting towards the higher alcohol contents, so again that's something that makes me very curious about this one. So very excited to try this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. A huge thank you to Davor Šireč once again, who has followed the channel for a number of years. He organised another Slovenian beer box for me, and this beer was very kindly donated by the guys at Reservoir Dogs Pivovar as well. So yeah, really looking forward to this, as I've repeated a number of times already, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Reservoir Dogs before. There will definitely be some more in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Slovenian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. It will be added to regularly over the next little while, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to my brewery notes then, to tell you a little bit about Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs then. So Reservoir Dogs was founded by 4 friends who brewed together in their spare time, just as kind of hobby homebrewer type. But this was Uros Komel, who was a mathematician, Alosa Pilensic, who was a neurologist, Andrei Sluga, who was an economist, and Matthew Bredsegar, who was an electrical engineer by trade. So they say that they basically just wanted to brew beers for themselves initially, things that they enjoyed drinking, and they learned much of their trade from the internet, reading beer journals, homebrewing magazines, all of these kind of things. But their beers proved to be hugely popular, and their brewing kind of continued to expand. They kept upping the capacity before they eventually decided to found a fully kind of fledged commercial company. So the company was officially founded in 2014, initially as a contract brewer at the Hotel Gold Club Arevština, which was a little bit kind of more to the east of Nova Gorica, but they're now based in Nova Gorica, right next to the Italian border, as I mentioned to you before. And they very recently opened up a new brewery and tap room as well, which has a much larger capacity than before, and at any one time these guys are producing 16 beers regularly, and inside the tap room you can get a lot of their little experimental beers that they do. But probably one of the more recognisable Slovenian craft beer names now, along with the likes of Pivovar Pelicon. And yeah, the first beer that I tried from Slovenia was from Pivovarna Pelicon, which was a really nice beer. But this one, as I say, I've had some very good experiences with Reservoir Dogs, and this one is supposed to be one of the more highly rated beers, so very curious to see what this has in store. If you want to learn more about the individual beers that these guys do, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. It's got some very nice pictures of their tap room as well, and you can go and visit it, of course. That's something something that I really do need to sort out with Davor within the next kind of year or two. Slovenia has been on my list for quite some time actually. Very, very nice and very pretty country with very nice people from what I've been told. And again, it's one of these ones that almost fits the stereotype a little bit of being a good wine country that also evolves into being a very good craft beer country. We can say that for Greece, we can say it for Italy. Spain is another one that comes to mind as well. So it's cool to see that Slovenia is kind of following on in that light. So yeah, also a very big hop producing country actually as well. I should mention, you know, the Styrian Wolf, Celaya, Dana, Styrian Goldings, I think Aurora might be another one that you can get from Slovenia as well, but they do a hell of a lot of different hops, Bobek and things like that as well. There's some very, very good hops down there in Slovenia, and Styrian Wolf is probably my personal favourite. Lovely melon flavour you can get from that. But yeah, go to Slovenia, visit it, try the different craft beers, try the wine, and enjoy the very kind of picturesque country itself. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. If you want to learn a little bit more about the brewery, you can follow them on Facebook and also Instagram as well. That'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on, and as I mentioned, you can check out the brewery website in the description below as well. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see it once again. I should also mention this beer is part of the Apocalypse series that the brewery do, and again it's got some of this absolutely lovely artwork. If I turn that round there, you can see there is the Reservoir Dogs symbol there, very, very distinctive of course, and that is also on the bottle cap of this one. But yeah, lovely presented beer this, coming in at 8% ABV, a black IPA. You know, I'm not sure if this is kind of close to the border where it should be considered an Imperial Black IPA. This is a style that I really enjoy if it's done well. And I said originally with these, you know, when it comes to the black IPAs, I've always felt they're better when they're imperial, and that's not just because I'm Scottish, of course, but I just feel when you have a little bit of caramel in the malt base, it always just gives the beer a little bit more kind of complexity. And you know, a lot of the black IPAs just have a flat little bit, you know, pale malt and then a little bit of black malt in it. To me, that's a little bit boring for the style. So I'm hoping that this one lives up to the kind of three pillars, if you like, that I've found with Slovenian IPAs. You know, a little bit of sweetness in the malt base, good little bit of hoppy bitterness, but also some nice kind of juicy, oily, fruity qualities as well. Those I've found seem to be the three kind of recurring themes, if you like, in Slovenian IPAs. So I'm really hoping that this is one that that follows along in that same line. But yeah, the Starvation Black IPA coming in at 8% ABV. Let's get it out and get it into the glass and see how we get on. So yeah. Nice little bit of smoke on the opening there, and I'll tell you straight away, you can smell some lovely juicy fruity qualities coming out of this beer already. And as you can see, this one's pouring a very dark sort of mahogany rosewoody colour. But yeah, lovely looking beer that. Nothing really particularly surprising actually about this one in terms of its appearance when you consider it's a black IPA. If I hold this up to the light, lovely dark kind of ebony rosewood mahogany colour as I was mentioning. There's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy, I would say kind of medium tan head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it looks very, very nice, and nothing really surprising about this one in terms of it being a black IPA. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see no real transparency to this one, but then again, you wouldn't expect that when the beer is this colour. You know, the malt's giving it a lot of the colour, and probably a little bit of a longer boil for a black IPA as well. But let's take a closer look at the aroma of this one and just see how we get on with it. Oh, tell you straight away, this one smells really, really nice. Yeah. As I always say with craft beers, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of them before you get stuck in. That's always half the experience when it comes to whiskies, sakes and craft beers, and for me, this just has a beautiful aroma. This is one of the best aromas I think I've had actually out of the Reservoir Dogs beer so far. You know, that's you know, I don't say that lightly because these guys are a very strong brewery. But yeah, with this one then, straight away underneath you can smell there is that roasty black malt backbone in there, but there is also an element of sweetness to it as well. You can smell that there's a nice sort of brown sugary quality to this one. It's definitely like an almost toasty caramel, but it's maybe got a little element of treacle to it as well. But yeah, the roasty black malt's in there, the kind of treacly brown sugars. And there's definitely a bit of a kind of almost brown bready quality to this one, almost a bit like a kind of, it's almost like a bit like a well-fired bread crust, to be honest with you. If you get these well-fired rolls like we have, breakfast rolls like we have in Scotland, if you just have it very, very dark and well-fired, that's the kind of aroma you're getting from the malt base in this one. So yeah, just enjoy the aroma of this beer, it really is very, very nicely done. I love how this one's just going together. But yeah, the malt base has a really good balance between that roasty side of things and the sweeter side of things, but it does become a little bit sweeter the more that your nose adjusts to it. You can definitely pick out some of the nice hoppy elements to this beer as well. You've got a little bit of an earthy quality to it, but also some nice kind of slightly spicy floral aromatic notes and a little bit of grassiness. The fruity quality in this beer is very interesting as well. I think there's a bit of an orangey quality coming out of this one. Yeah, definitely a little bit of an orangey note. Yeah, there's maybe a little tiny touch of like a grapefruit or something. I do think there's maybe a little bit of cascade in here just because of the way some of the fruits are coming out. So maybe there's a little touch of grapefruit in there. The other hop that I suspect that could be in here might be Williamette, because you've got a very distinctive kind of red fruity note to this one, berryish fruit, and Williamette always gives you a little touch of earthiness and a very distinctive kind of floral spicy note, but it also gives you a little bit of this kind of blackberry, a very kind of blackberry, almost just, it's maybe got a little bit of a red berry quality to it as well, and there's just something in this beer that makes me think Williamette. If you have a few beers with that hop in it, you pick it up right away because of that blackberry quality that it has. And to me, I would be quite surprised actually if I'm calling that wrong, but I will hold my hands up if I am. But yeah, I think there's a bit of blackberry in there, maybe a little bit of a kind of figgy raisiny quality as well. And also, as I say, I think there's a little touch of orange and grapefruit in there. So I think there's maybe Cascade, Williamette, and there could be something in there, maybe like a little bit of Mosaic or Amarillo or something like that. I'm sure we'll be able to tell if the oranges are in there when we have a look at the taste itself. But yeah, take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this beer because it does smell very, very nice actually. So this one, we'll have a taste of it now. This is the Starvation, a black IPA coming in at 8% ABV. From Pivovarna Reservoir dogs in Nova Gorica, just next to the Italian border in Slovenia. Once again, thank you to the guys at the brewery for passing this beer on to Davor, and a huge thank you to Davor once again for arranging another Slovenia box for me. Let's get stuck in. Slanje, skål, na zdravje. Yeah. What I'm going to say right away is, I can absolutely see why this beer is really highly rated. I mean, in terms of a black IPA, first impression is that it's got a very good balance to it. It's got that little element of roasty toasty quality. That's starting to come out more in the aftertaste now, but it's also got a good little bit of balance of sweetness in the malt base, but you've got a lovely bit of bitterness from the hops in this one as well. I mean, it's really just it's really well done, this one. I like how everything kind of comes together in this beer. It's one of these ones. It's a very solid beer that has a good bit of complexity to it, but it's also about how the different flavours kind of blend together in this. But you can look at the flavours individually in this, but I will say right away, I can see why this one is very highly rated. So just keep that in mind. If you can get this beer, have a go at it. But let's try and break the flavour down just a little bit more. But yeah, so for me, with this beer, it's got a really nice kind of, you can definitely feel, it's got a little bit of that smooth backbone to it. You can feel the pale malt just blanketing the middle of your tongue there. On top of that, you get the roasty bitter malts, and it comes out just a little bit more towards the edge of your palate. It does push its way out a little bit more. There's a little bit of a kind of sweet caramelly quality in the centre of your palate too. And as you go out, I should say actually the caramel does have a little bit of sweetness to it, but it comes across as being a little bit more of a kind of darker brown sugar, like a sort of treacle or molasses or something, but it's quite minimal. The centre of your palate in this beer is not overly sweet, but the further you go out from the middle of of the palate there is it definitely becomes a little bit more biscuity, and you can feel the roasty black malts just pushing their way out of this one the further into the flavour you go. The further forward you come on the palate, right in the centre, I think there's a little tiny touch of a slightly woody flavour in there as well. I would definitely say that about this side of the beer as well. It's got a little bit of everything actually. The malt base is quite complex, but at the same time it's very well balanced. It starts off a bit sweeter, but then it starts to lean a little bit more towards the kind of roasty, toasty side of things. But it's you know, it's well done, and I'm not surprised when it comes to Reservoir Dogs. As I mentioned earlier, they are a very, very solid brewery. Yeah, and again, I think the more and more that I'm drinking of this one, the slightly sweeter the centre of your palate is getting. Let's have a little look at the hoppy side of this one then. So back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little touch of earthiness in there. As you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, that just smooths out a little bit. It could be, I do wonder if, as I say, Williamette is a very popular hop for this style, but it could be a little bit of summit or something in there. The earthiness is not very English, if that makes sense, because it's definitely got a little bit of a more darker quality. I wonder if there could be a little bit of summit or something in here, or even a little bit of Columbus. Something like that, because as you come further forward along the sides of your palate, you've got this very distinctive, slightly spicy floral aromatic note, and there's something in my mind that's making me wonder if there's a bit of Columbus being used as the bittering hop in here, or it could be a little bit of Summit, something like that. But as you go round the front curve of the palate, it's definitely got a little bit of that lighter kind of it's definitely got a bit of that lighter, more grassy kind of quality to it, but you can feel there's just a little touch of earthiness there. But when you go behind the front curve of the palate, there's that little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And for me, I do think there's a little bit of Williamette in here, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of Cascade as well, to be honest with you. I think maybe my prognosis that I had of those two hops, I don't think there's an orangey quality to this one. I think I was wrong when I was picking that out in the aroma. I think this one for me is more, it kind of reminds me a little bit more of a kind of Cascadian dark ale, to be honest with you. And I've never really understood where the border is between the Cascadian dark ale and the black IPA, other than the fact that, you know, I think the Cascadian darks are just a single hop Cascade version of a black IPA. But other than that, I think the style is pretty much the same. And for me, I think this one, it has that sort of Cascadian dark feel to it, if you like, but at the same time it's also got a little bit of the, you know, it's got the Williamette, it's got that kind of classic black IPA quality to it as well. The fruity side of the beer, there's definitely a little touch of grapefruit there towards the back of the palate. As you come further forward on that, you start to get more kind of blackberries. There's a bit of a figgy juiciness to it as well, maybe even a little tiny touch of a raisiny sharpness, but to be honest, I don't think there's more comes out of it than, I don't think there's much more to it than that. I don't think there's an orangey quality to this one. Yeah. And now that I say that there's not one, there's something in my mind that's saying there very well could be. There could be a little touch of an orange there on the tip of the palate as well. So yeah, I'm not certain if that kind of is orange, but to me the fruitiness is definitely more grapefruity. There could be a little bit of orange in there, like I'm saying. But then when you move further forward on the palate, it's blackberries, black currants, that kind of sort of thing. A little bit of a figgy, juicy quality, and you know, other than that, I think there's maybe a little touch of a kind of raisiny sharpness to this one. But you know, overall, as I said, this is a very, very nice beer. In terms of the black IPA style, I think it starts off sweeter, but then it moves a little bit more towards the roasty, toasty side of things. But you know, this is just a really, really nice black IPA, and to be honest, it's one of these styles where I say it's a shame that everyone kind of seems to forget about it these days in favour of the New England IPAs. I really, really like this one, and this was what all the kind of hype was about a few years ago, but they've produced a really excellent beer in this one, and to be honest, I would put this probably into my top 3 that I've had from the brewery so far. So with, you know, you would get the Styrian, the Lone Wolf, my apologies, the Batch 50, and then this one. Those would probably be my favourite 3 beers that I've had so far from Reservoir Dogs. I really like what they've done with this one, and they've, you know, it is starting to get towards the Imperial Black IPA. As I've mentioned before, this is a style I think that is better when it's Imperial, but it comes together very, very nicely. So in terms of the mouthfeel then, mid-bodied beer, carbonation is very smooth, it's leaning towards the oily side of things in terms of its mouthfeel. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I'd say this one is somewhere around the kind of 60, 70 IBU mark, something like that, but you're also getting a little bit of bitterness from the malt base as well. Like I said, in terms of a black IPA, this one does lean a little bit more towards the roasty toasty side of things. The malt base has a good balance between the smoothness and also some of the sweetness, but that's countered a little bit by that roasty black malt backbone that the beer has, and you've also got some of these nice juicy fruity qualities there. So in fairness, as I mentioned earlier, the 3 kind of pillars of the Slovenian IPA, slightly sweet malt base, good bit of hoppy bitterness, juicy fruits. Even the black IPAs seem to have it, which is very, very nice, and it does have just a little touch of sharpness to the fruity side of things as well. But like I said, excellent black IPA, this one. What some of the other really good ones that I've had have been the black salts and body malts from Toul. I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head that I've had recently, but you know, this one I think is up there with the one that I had from Toul, the black salts and body malts. So if you like that particular beer, which I believe is fairly widely available throughout Europe, then if you come across this one, you know, you can expect something that is on the same kind of level as that. So yeah, lovely beer, this one, and I'm glad that I was able to review it. One thing I would love to see is how the Styrian Wolf would turn out in a black IPA. I think that would be a very interesting kind of small batch experimental beer for these guys to do, and it would be awesome to review that for you here on the channel at some point. The Wolf Starvation, something like that, they could call it that. But yeah, lovely beer, this one, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. If you like the black IPAs, you certainly will enjoy this one. But let's leave it at that now. So this one was the Starvation, a black IPA coming in at 8% ABV from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs in Nova Gorica in Slovenia. Once again, a huge thank you to Davor for making this review possible, along with the guys at Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs for giving him the beer. But thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs as well, and do let me know some other Slovenian breweries that you guys would like to see me check out. Until the next time, slanja just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Skol, na zdravje. Make sure you check out some of the Slovenian craft beers because they're pretty damn good. Na zdravje.